Do you wonder why some people seem to cry at the drop of a hat, while others rarely shed a tear? If you're someone who cries easily, especially when faced with conflict, raised voices, or confrontation, have you asked yourself, is there something wrong with me? Or what does this say about who I am? Well, the answer might surprise you, because psychology has some fascinating insights about what your tears really reveal. If you cry easily, you're far from alone, and science suggests there's far more happening beneath the surface than simple weakness or oversensitivity. What psychology reveals about your tears? Studies suggest that women cry an average of 2 to 5 times per month, while men cry about once every month or two. But these are just averages, and the reality is that crying frequency varies dramatically from person to person, regardless of gender. So what does psychology say about people who find themselves more emotional than those around them? The findings are remarkable. According to psychologists, people who cry easily often possess a trait called high emotional sensitivity. This doesn't mean you're weak or overly dramatic. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Emotional sensitivity is linked to heightened empathy, which means you're more attuned to the feelings of others. You don't just observe emotions, you actually feel them alongside other people. When someone shares their pain, you genuinely experience an echo of that suffering. When someone celebrates a victory, their joy becomes your joy. This deep connection to the emotional landscape around you is actually a strength, not a weakness. Brain imaging studies have revealed something remarkable about people with high emotional sensitivity. Their brains show increased activity in regions associated with empathy and emotional processing, particularly the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula. These are the parts of your brain that help you understand and share the feelings of others. So when you cry easily, your brain is literally wired to connect more deeply with the world around you. But there's more to the story. Psychologists have also discovered that people who cry easily tend to score higher on the personality trait of neuroticism, which is one of the big 5 personality dimensions. Now, before you panic at that term, understand that neuroticism isn't necessarily negative. It simply means you experience emotions more intensely and are more responsive to stress and emotional stimuli. Think of it as having the volume turned up on your emotional experiences. You feel the highs higher and the lows lower. This intensity can fuel creativity, passion, and a rich inner life that others might not experience. Interestingly, crying easily is also associated with something called thin boundaries. This psychological concept refers to how permeable the barriers are between different aspects of your psyche and between yourself and the outside world. People with thin boundaries are more open to experiences, more creative, and more sensitive to their environment. They're the artists, the dreamers, the people who can see connections that others miss. Your tears might be a sign that you experience life in full color rather than in muted tones. Let's talk about the actual function of crying, because it's not just an emotional release, it serves important psychological purposes. When you cry, your body releases stress hormones and toxins through your tears. Yes, emotional tears actually have a different chemical composition than tears from chopping onions. They contain higher levels of stress hormones, meaning crying is your body's natural way of regulating emotional overwhelm. People who cry easily might actually be better at managing stress because they have a built-in release valve that activates more readily. Moreover, crying triggers the release of endorphins, your body's natural pain relievers and mood elevators. It also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you calm down after emotional arousal. So when you have a good cry, you're not being self-indulgent, you're engaging in a sophisticated self-soothing mechanism that promotes emotional balance. But here's where it gets really interesting. Psychologists have found that people who cry easily often have stronger social bonds and more satisfying relationships. Why? Because tears are a powerful form of communication. They signal vulnerability and need, which can bring people closer together. When you cry in front of someone, you're showing trust and creating an opportunity for connection. Your willingness to be emotionally open can actually strengthen your relationships and build deeper intimacy with others. Cultural factors play a significant role too. In some cultures, crying is seen as a natural expression of emotion and is accepted or even encouraged. In others, particularly from men in many Western societies, crying is stigmatized as a sign of weakness. If you cry easily and feel shame about it, recognize that this shame is often culturally constructed rather than inherently meaningful. The psychological evidence suggests that expressing emotions through tears is healthy, not shameful. There are also biological factors at play. Hormone levels, particularly prolactin, influence how easily you cry. This is why many people notice changes in their crying patterns during hormonal shifts, like puberty, pregnancy, or menopause. Your tear ducts themselves can vary in size and efficiency from person to person. Some of us are simply built with plumbing that makes tears flow more readily. It's also worth noting that attachment style, formed in early childhood, can influence how easily you cry. People with secure attachment tend to be more comfortable expressing emotions, including through tears. Those with anxious attachment might cry more frequently as a way of seeking reassurance and connection. Understanding your attachment style can provide insight into your emotional patterns. Now, while crying easily is generally not a cause for concern, it's important to distinguish between healthy emotional expression and crying that might signal an underlying issue. If you find yourself crying constantly, feeling unable to control your tears, or if crying significantly interferes with your daily life, it could be a sign of depression, anxiety, or another mental health condition. In these cases, reaching out to a mental health professional is important. Psychologists also point out that crying easily can be a sign of emotional intelligence. People with high emotional intelligence are aware of their feelings, can name them accurately, and know how to process them effectively. Crying is one way your emotional intelligence manifests, allowing you to acknowledge and release difficult feelings rather than bottling them up where they can cause psychological harm. Research has also shown that people who cry easily may have greater access to their emotional memories. When you watch a movie about loss and find yourself crying, it's not just about what's happening on screen. Your tears connect present emotions to past experiences, creating a web of emotional meaning that enriches your understanding of yourself and others. This emotional depth can contribute to wisdom and psychological insight that serves you throughout life. So, do you cry easily? If the answer is yes, embrace it. Your tears are a testament to your capacity for deep feeling, your empathy for others, and your willingness to engage authentically with the full spectrum of human experience. You're not too sensitive, you're courageously sensitive in a world that often encourages emotional suppression. Your tears are a sign of your humanity, your connection to others, and your psychological health. The next time you feel tears welling up, remember, you're not weak, you're wonderfully, beautifully human. Let your tears flow, knowing that psychology affirms what your heart already knows. Feeling deeply is a gift, not a burden.